Hi there, this is Jonathan Ginsberg. I'm an Atlanta area personal bankruptcy attorney. And today I'd like to talk to you about what I consider to be the biggest mistake folks make when they look at filing Chapter 13. And maybe another way to put this would be, this is kind of a reality check for Chapter 13. Chapter 13, as you probably know, is a debt consolidation form of bankruptcy. You basically kind of dump all your debts into a Chapter 13 plan, and you pay them back based on a number of very detailed rules set forth by the court. Generally, if you have secured debt, like a vehicle or furniture or jewelry, you're going to pay that in full. Unsecured debt, you may pay back as little as 1 penny, as much as 100 cents on the dollar. A mortgage, you will pay your mortgage directly, but you'll pay your mortgage arrearage in a Chapter 13. So basically a 13 will categorize debts and will figure out what they get, who gets paid what over what time, but it all has to fit within 5 years or 60 months. So in essence, Chapter 13 is a big math problem. We've got to fit a payment plan that works within 60 months. The issue that I see is this, is that people come in to see me about Chapter 13 and they want to save everything, which I certainly understand. The problem is that the way Chapter 13 law works and the way the budgeting works for Chapter 13, it is very difficult sometimes to make everything work and to save everything. And that means you're trying to save your house, your car, your furniture, your jewelry, and so forth. And what ends up happening is you end up with a Chapter 13 plan payment that is calculated, again, based on the interest rates and the category of the debt, that basically uses up every last dime that you have that would be quote-unquote disposable. So you have your budget, and you got to pay your mortgage or your rent, you've got to pay your electricity, your utilities, and so forth, and you have, let's just say, for an example, $350 left over. Well, to make everything work in Chapter 13, you really need $450. So people, of course, want to save everything. They don't want to give up house, car, furniture. And so we'll go into a Chapter 13 and we'll use estimated liability from a bonus that somebody may get, or a part-time job that somebody just got that they're making a little bit extra money, or support from a relative. And we make up that extra money, and so now we've got $450 in our budget to fund the Chapter 13. The problem is it doesn't always work. And so the last thing you want to be doing is to obligate yourself for a 5-year payment plan where you are stretched to the limit as far as your budget's concerned. Because things are going to happen in 5 years during that Chapter 13. You're going to need a new roof. You're going to need new tires, car repair. You're going to have a family emergency, a medical problem. You're going to have to fly someplace for a funeral. Those type of things we really can't account for in the Chapter 13 budget. The trustees tend to want every last dime. So we're putting every last dime of our disposable income into the Chapter 13 plan. And then a year or 2 years into the 13, reality hits, and the Chapter 13 fails. As one of my colleagues was pointing out to me in court, we were chatting about this in court today, actually, and he said, you know, the straightforward Chapter 13s are now really difficult, and the difficult Chapter 13s are almost impossible. The failure rate on Chapter 13 is absurdly high. I think it's over 50%, maybe even 60% of the Chapter 13s filed fail. And my feeling is the reason is that you want to save everything, but I think that when you go into a Chapter 13, you've got to look at it and say, what can I survive on? This is something I can live with for the next 5 years. And as difficult as it may be, you need to be prepared to say, okay, I'm going to make some changes. I may have to find a different place to live. I'm going to have to get a less expensive car. I'm going to have to give up some furniture. If you're talking to a bankruptcy lawyer, as I always say, everything needs to be on the table. And I'm not doing you any good. You're not doing yourself any good to go into a Chapter 13 you cannot afford. And that's the biggest problem I see in Chapter 13s is people take on an obligation they simply can't afford based on optimism, the expectation they're going to get a bonus, expectation of a raise. These things may happen or they may not happen. But again, if you're in Chapter 13, that trustee payment is coming out of your paycheck every single week or 2 weeks or month or however often you get paid. And if you don't have the money to pay everything else, something's got to give. So my advice to you would be, if you're looking at Chapter 13, be prepared to say, okay, I'm going to give something up. I want to make this work, and be realistic with your lawyer. don't assume everything positive, because life is such that things positive don't always happen. And if you're, again, in a bankruptcy, that means positive things have not happened to you, and the odds of things changing significantly probably aren't so great. So as an attorney, I want to do right by my clients. I want to put them in Chapter 13 so they're going to really solve their problems. But it's very hard to do that if people insist on saving everything and use every last dime of their money coming in to fund a Chapter 13 plan that may not be feasible and is going to fail. And again, if you go into it and it fails in 2 or 3 years, you've put a lot of money into a Chapter 13. You're going to come out of it and everything's going to kind of go back to the way it was, and I wouldn't say wasted that money, but you've not gotten full value out of it. So that's my reality check with Chapter 13. I hope you found it helpful. Again, sometimes it's not what people want to hear, but that's my job, is to tell them what the truth is. You can reach me if you want to talk about this, 770-393-4985, or by email, ginsburg@gmail.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube, and like it on Facebook. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and go to my website. It's atlanta-bankruptcy.com, and download my free Secrets to, or it's actually a Debt Destroyer Survival Kit, Secrets to Success in Bankruptcy. And I hope you found that useful. And again, if you have any questions for me personally, please reach out to me. Happy to help you in any way I can. This is Jonathan Ginsburg. Until next time, I wish you the best. Hi, this is Jonathan, and I hope you found this video helpful. I'd like to invite you to download my free Debt Destroyer Survival Kit right now. I've packed my survival kit with answers to the questions I've heard from clients for over 25 years here in the Atlanta area. Inside the survival kit, you'll find clear, easy to understand answers to critical topics about how to solve debt problems once and for all, including how do I protect my stuff, my house, car, and personal property if I file for bankruptcy? Are there any legitimate alternatives to bankruptcy? Will I ever get credit again, and if so, when? What mistakes must I avoid to get the most benefit out of bankruptcy? You can claim your copy right now by visiting my atlanta-bankruptcy.com website. And you are always welcome to use the email form on my website to ask me anything about debt and personal bankruptcy in Atlanta. www.atlanta-bankruptcy.com. And as always, I wish you the best.